Okay, great. It looks like all good. Great.
Perfect.
Uh, so, uh, uh, Hi Slavana, welcome to the Plum Talks. And today, I think the idea of Plum Talks is to talk to the really great mentors or professionals who are working really well in their industries, and know their day to day workflows, and how they, maybe their cheat sheets as well, to how they figure out the things, how they uh, make success for their clients in terms of things. The topic for you is copywriting, as you mentioned. This is something that you really enjoy working on. So maybe you can start with about your introduction, like what you do currently, and how you are doing the things, and how often you are working with how many clients in the current state, or something like this.
hmm Yeah, absolutely. So, I've always been a writer from a young age. It's been my favorite tool for expressing myself and communicating. I wrote everything from poetry to songs, and even started writing a book when I was a kid. So I never I always loved writing, but I never really considered it as a career. I had teachers telling me, "Oh, you should go to school and study English, study writing in some form," and I was like, "No, I don't want to." I was afraid that it would take away the passion that I have for writing if I wanted to make it a source of income. So yeah, I didn't really think about it until the pandemic happened, and when I lost my job, I just kind of tried different side gigs and tried to make something work for a while, but nothing really stuck until I started my hand at freelance writing. And I was writing blogs and articles for people on Fiverr while I learned what I could about copywriting. So that's kind of how I got started in this industry. But eventually, after doing that for a while, I was hired as a copywriter at an agency that I still work at called Flight Performance. And I've been expanding my skills in creative and performance marketing ever since then.
And how you enjoy the performance marketing? It looks like for some of the people's, performance marketing is scary, because you have to bring some results, you have to have some KPIs around the place. So what's your perspective on performance marketing? Since copywriting is something like you can write it down whenever you want to, since you enjoy writing, you can write a lot of other things, but why performance marketing, or what's your perspective on performance marketing to do your copywriting skills?
I really like data. So performance marketing is super fun for me because I get to use different tools to analyze the stuff that I'm writing. And I can look at all my different clients and see how a video ad was performing. Some people were watching it throughout the entire 100% of the video, and some people were dropping off after the first 3 seconds. Like, why is that? And so it kind of like adds to the creativity, because I can look at data with my colleagues and be like, okay, we need to change this to make it a little bit more user friendly and like more viewable, because people's attention spans are, a lot shorter nowadays. And I think it opens up a lot of doors for creativity that you don't necessarily think of when you are just writing copy for the purpose of writing copy, because it has to be there. But now we have a very specific target of KPIs, and we know exactly what it is that we're trying to attain. We know the goal for every project. So for me, I think it's really fun, but I have talked with other people that kind of feel a little bit nervous about like the performance aspect of it, because we are paid essentially, like not me, but the business is paid based on the performance that we give our clients. So it does kind of raise the stakes a little bit, but I think, yeah, it works for my personality, maybe not everyone's.
I think that's a great word you mentioned. This relates to the personality, like people who are more into the risk taking and more confident in their skills, they might choose to have a performance marketing as their career as well, because it is some kind of a sales target, something like this. So I agree with you. I just want to know which platforms you mostly enjoy, or you started working on, like Google, Facebook, any of the top platforms you work on, and this is something your priority to write, because since every platform has a different kind of audience, right? Like Google Ads has a different set of audiences. People might come to search, have a different intention to when they come to Google. When people are coming to the Facebook, they have some different intentions. So which platform you enjoy working and will be your first priority to work on?
It has kind of evolved as I've grown.
Yes.
I started with email marketing. I think a lot of copywriters start with email marketing. It's a very it's pretty easy to grasp. That's where I started, and I loved writing email copy for a really long time. I loved learning everything about email beyond just writing the copy. But now I really love writing website content. I write landing pages specifically. I'm pretty much the only one writing landing pages at our agency. So I like using that because I have a really specific structure for when I'm writing different forms of copy. You know, when I create ads for Meta versus when I have to create them for Google or TikTok, they have different structures because people respond differently on those platforms, like you were just saying. And I have come to feel that I've been wanting to just niche down a little bit further than what I have in the past. And that's why now I focus on landing pages and website copy, like sales pages as well, because I find so many opportunities for testing, creative testing and strategy in that single service. So I can kind of play around a little bit further. And that's why, I really enjoy website copy at the moment, but email was my bread and butter for a long time.
Nice. Good to know that, because I think emails are something like you can directly connect to the customer like whenever you want to. If you have an email of your customers, you can get the feedbacks of your product. You can get the testing phases, feedbacks, anything. If you have an email, you can creatively talk to them. Talking about the email marketing, what are the top? Is this something you used to follow some email writers or any newsletters you used to follow? Any top 3 newsletters you want to share? Like you really enjoy reading those emails of those peoples and you learn from those emails and apply this on your day-to-day life or professional lives. So any top 3 professional writers?
I followed a lot of different copywriting gurus, should we say, for a while. I've been on Justin Goff and Stephen Georgi's email list for quite a while, and I really like theirs, but probably some of my favorite and most useful people to follow have been Alex Catoni. She has an incredible YouTube channel where I just consumed free content for a really long time before taking any of her courses. And also my personal business coach, who is a business coach that was previously a copywriter. She still is a copywriter. Her name is Diana Alexandrova, and she is incredible. She's actually one of the first students of Alex Catoni, and she gives out 2 daily emails, one on copywriting and one on mindset work. And I think as an entrepreneur, I've learned so much from her because she talks about the mindset shifts that you have to be owning your own business and become a entrepreneur that is a copywriter, if that makes sense. So you're not just a copywriter and just working for other people. You are the CEO of your own copywriting company. And I loved how she has given me different tools to become a better writer, as well as a lot of different mindset shifts to help me take the next step in my own business.
Great. What are the top 2 things or 3 things you make sure whenever you start writing an email? So what are the top 3 things you have in mind? Okay, I should structure my email in a way. Maybe what are the things you keep in mind, or maybe you keep in mind a storytelling concept or anything that comes to your mind. So what's your format, or what's your go-to format for emails most of the time?
Well, I have a blank template set up for pretty much every type of copy that I write. At the bottom of my email copy doc, I just have a blank one with my 2 subject lines and preview text. I have hero text boxes, and then all of my sections filled out so that I don't have to spend any time structuring the email. Even though like the structure changes a lot of the times, I have that foundation there so I can just jump into writing, and I love doing that. But I also have like a few different lists of different copywriting principles that I have learned, that I use constantly, storytelling formulas, anything that really helps me kind of remember how I need to structure an email. I have different things like how to open a loop and create more curiosity in an email. I think that's really important in emails, in your subject lines. Different ways to open loops, as well as to have stronger direct response copy. So I just like have these little notes that I keep on my desktop or even in a notebook with me, so I can just refer back to those. I keep them accessible. I think like we will learn something in a course, in a video we watched, but if I don't take notes and I don't like refer back to it, it's in one ear, out the other, and it's gone. So I always keep my notes handy when I'm writing something so that I can refer back to that, as well as having any type of brand guidelines about the client. I like to have in front of me if there's any language that they really use in their copy, or about their mission statement and the values that they want to share with their customers. I keep all of that right with me.
Great. Nowadays, I see a lot of people nowadays write their LinkedIn posts, and during writing their LinkedIn post, they add a lot of emojis into that particular post. So, what's your perspective on is this something attracts customer, or it really helps people to grab their attention? So when you write an emails, do you use emojis on your emails, or you want to keep it cut and short and want to convey your message first?
It depends on the client, really. It depends on their voice. Sometimes I will try and sneak them in there, and the customer is like, no, we don't really use emojis, so I don't use them. Some customers that I work with use a lot of emojis, and that's kind of their brand voice is kind of cheeky like that a little bit. I think that it does a good job, using emojis does a good job of breaking up text. So when you're reading things, it doesn't just look like blocks of text. Space things out more. I like to add emojis in place of a word sometimes. So if we're like talking about going to the beach, I would say like, I won't actually write going to the beach, but be like go to, and then the little emoji of like the sun and the sand or the ocean or whatever.
Umbrellas.
Yeah, the umbrellas. So sometimes I will do that, but it's very dependent on the brand that I'm working for.
Sounds perfect. Yeah, I totally understand your point. So when you say brand voice, so for example, when you start working on any project, you talk to any of their marketing team member. When you get any project, you talk to any marketing member, or what's your process like? How you understand their business, how you understand their brand voice, or their CEO tells you, okay, this is something we have a vision of, or something like this. What's the process actually? You understand how you are going to perform on their emails.
When I onboard new clients, I have a big list of some of my juiciest, most important questions about brand identity, which includes 4 big pillars: vision, values, personality, and client avatar.
Okay.
And I ask the client questions relating to these 4 pillars to understand what makes their brand unique, what voice it has when they're talking to their ideal client, who is their ideal client. Maybe they have multiple types of ideal clients. And I pair all of this with my own competitor research after the call. But after doing this and having all of these questions answered, the copy nearly writes itself.
Yes.
And it makes it so much easier than going in there blind and then just trying to think, oh, if I was this brand, how would I write? No, like we need to work with the clients and understand their vision for the brand and how they want to come off in marketing, because we might know how to write, but we don't know how to to be their brand. And that's what we need to understand. We need to know how to get into the mind of their brand and their audience.
So for the aspiring copywriters, your guidance would be keep working on your vocab day-to-day basis, like reading books, reading newspapers, or anything that it's not something like you are actually reading brands, websites, or something like this. You can just practice your vocabulary day-to-day basis, and whenever you onboard a client, you just ask few questions, and you will automatically understand, and in your mind you will automatically write the ad copies or messaging for them automatically. This is something could be a good note for ideal copywriters who are looking to get into the copywriting. That's great. Yeah. So now since I just want to understand, you write copies only, or you also into the numbers as well, like you also go to the platforms and check how's your ad copies are performing? Like, is this something also you enjoy working on?
Yeah, it is kind of a mixture. So I'm a copywriter as well as a creative strategist.
Yeah.
So I work with media buyers, and we'll go in and look at ad accounts together, and we'll see what's performing, if it's performing poorly or if it's great. If we see something that's performing really well, we'll say, hey, how can we make a different iteration on this one, maybe with a different product? How can we replicate this for our other client or for the same client, and keep doing it to see and understand why it's performing the way it is. Then as we continue running more tests, then we can figure out the winning creative. We can actually find our way to the winning strategy and the winning creative that is making them a lot of money. And that's the whole goal. That's what I really like doing. But it is kind of like a combination of strategy and copywriting that I do.
Okay. For example, what are the KPIs or what are the metrics you keep in mind, and you understand, okay, if I will watch those metrics, and if these metrics folds up, this is something would be a success for me. So what are the metrics you keep in mind, or is on your goal to test your creatives?
So one of the biggest ones is return on ad spend. Okay. So we'll look at a client who spent maybe $10,000 on an ad that they're running.
Yes.
And if they're getting at least say $13,000 in revenue, that's good. At least above 1, preferably above 1.3 return on ad spend.
Okay.
That's ideal for us. We also look at a few different things depending on if it is a video ad or an image ad. If it's a video ad, we like to look at thumb stop ratio, so we can see how many people are scrolling through their feeds, and then they stop as soon as they land on our ad, and how long are they staying on the ad. We look at how many purchases are made. Sometimes things don't have a huge return on ad spend, but they have a lot of purchases. Maybe the product is not it's not very high priced, so it's not generating enough money to get a return on ad spend.
Yes.
Let's see, we also look at customer acquisition cost.
Okay.
How much is it costing for this brand to acquire one single customer? How can we lower that? Obviously, your clients, they're always wanting to have like a very, very low customer acquisition cost. And yeah, that's kind of some of the biggest things. Add to cart ratios, things like that.
And sometimes when we go to the campaigns or when we have a different concept of marketing, sometimes our campaigns also targets on only for the awareness stages or only for the clicks, where we do not want ROS or something. We just want people to see our ad or see our product. And there are sometimes those kind of campaigns where clicks might be less, but we want most of the click to get converted. So how you differentiate your ad copies or in this particular area, like people say it mofu campaigns, tofu campaigns, and bofu campaigns. So what are the thoughts you have when you want to attract more people on the website, and what are the thoughts you have when you want people to convert for your product or purchase your product rather than visiting your website most of the time?
So we actually will create ad variations based on whether we are trying to attract new customers or people who have already interacted with the brand before.
Yes.
So prospecting or remarketing. If we're prospecting, we're trying to acquire new customers, and typically our ads, when we're wanting to acquire new customers, our ads will be focused on the top selling points of the brand or the product, things that make them unique. They will be maybe part of, if we're running an ad, it might be about a trend that's happening on TikTok, if it's a TikTok ad. Things that will get their attention that even though they haven't seen the brand before. And then if we're running an ad about that is for remarketing for people who have already interacted with the brand before, we'll focus on different selling points. Maybe if the founder has a really good story, a really compelling story about how they thought up and created this company. It will be testimonials, reviews from other people who love the brand. So yeah, we approach things differently based on what the goal is for that campaign. And that's really important, because if you're just kind of putting out vague messaging to attract everyone, it's not going to resonate with anyone.
Exactly. So what are the creatives are mostly performing for you nowadays? Like, is it a video formats mostly, or is it a carousel formats mostly, or storytelling, or people like founder coming on the video on his own and sharing the story of his or her brand, and this is something maybe a good content or maybe a good creative for you? So what is the best creative format is currently working in your space nowadays?
Again, it kind of varies based on clients, but I would say that video ads are really popular right now, as well as carousel ads. Actually, carousel ads have been performing really well for us. So we have a client that has a really compelling founder story, how she created her company when her partner got extremely sick with cancer, and then they ended up like, you know, he was okay, and that was kind of like the catalyst for them starting this health and wellness brand. And those video ads perform like crazy because it's really emotional and it's very triggering for people to be able to relate to something like that. Whereas we also work with a very high-end golf brand, and carousels work super well with our high-end golf brand because you can see different sides of the product and when they're being put into use and stuff like that. Like the videos also work really well for them, but right now we are creating a lot of video ads and a lot of carousel ads.
Okay, and what kind of tools, since this is an era of, I think people love to use tools, multiple tools when they are working. So what are the tools you use in your day-to-day work to keep you organized, to make you organized on your work, so that what are the tools you use on a day-to-day basis for your copywriting or strategizing your brand or something like this?
Yeah, we use Motion. Motion app is our creative testing platform, and we absolutely love them because we are just hooked up to all of the ad accounts in the Meta and TikTok ad manager, and we can look at the metrics for landing pages, for copy, for creative, for videos, and we can create our own detailed reports that show exactly the metrics that we want to be shown. There's so many different metrics that you can look at in creative testing, but we can tailor our data and the board that we're looking at for each brand based on their industry, based on the types of creatives that we're running. And we look at that every week and we talk about, okay, what's performing, what's not. That's one of my favorite tools. It is a bit of a learning curve, but the people at Motion are incredibly helpful, and we've had trainings with them to really understand how to effectively use this platform for creative testing. and that is great. For my creative team, like we use Go Visually so that everyone can kind of review the creatives before they're sent to the client. The client also gets access. Outside parties have access to our platforms when we need to show them the creatives. And then other than that, I use monday.com for different like task management. And I just I create my own templates to templatize everything and make it super quick. We have different templates for storyboarding ads, whether it's an unboxing video, whether it's a day in my life or get ready with me, and different types of ad formats for videos that we like to use on Meta or TikTok. We have those formatted and templatized so they're easy to access and make things quicker.
Definitely, it makes your project it makes your work more productive for sure. I'm assuming you also hire new copywriters for your team or something like this. What are the things you keep in mind while you hiring someone for your team? What are the things should be there that attracts you? Okay, this is something we would love to work with. So maybe you can, if you can share something that might be helpful for someone who maybe wants to apply to work with you or something like this. So what are the things you keep in mind?
I think that copywriters and creative strategists definitely need to be adaptable. Working at an agency is very fast paced. There's a lot of quick turnover for our projects. I think sometimes marketing agencies get a bad rep because there is so much influx happening and there's a lot of moving parts. Sometimes that fast paced type of environment is not what people want in like a creative scenario, because as creatives we don't want to be rushed, and thankfully at the place that I work at we are very good at creating boundaries around turnaround times. But I look for people that are adaptable, that can work on different types of projects and not only the ones that they're comfortable with. I want people I want them to feel, they don't need to feel confident trying new things, but they should be okay trying new things. And I want people that aren't afraid to get their hands dirty a little bit and try something that I haven't tried before. I also look for people that are empathetic and can relate to other people's problems, because that's a huge part of copywriting. You can't sell things if you don't understand the customer's problem. And we don't do sleazy selling around here. We sell with integrity, and we sell based on how we can help the customer. So I want people that can understand that and have a little bit more compassion and empathy for that, as well as people that aren't afraid to take risks. I love people that seem like a culture fit in that they aren't so outspoken and they aren't afraid to take a risk writing something that maybe someone won't like. Because I think that in marketing, creative can be so subjective and there's so much room for ideas that are maybe pushing boundaries. Yeah, and like I love that. And I don't want people to be afraid to try something new just because they want the client to be happy. Yes. I want someone that is gonna have a crazy idea and then pitch it and just see what happens. Don't be afraid, and like don't dim your creative light.
That's great. And do you have a remote team only, or you also you have an in-house team or something like this? How are you organizing your work?
We are all remote, so I'm actually in Europe, but the agency is based in Los Angeles.
Oh, nice.
We're a pretty huge company, so we have an office in Los Angeles, and we also have one in the UK, in London. So, but everyone else is scattered around. I'm in Denmark. I have my creative team is in the Philippines. So we have a lot of people all over.
And how you see people? Is there any difference you see when you work with the Philippine teams? Is there any creative differences you see in their mindsets or in their creative decisions or something like this?
Not really. I think the people, all of my team, actually, our entire creative team is in the Philippines, minus 3 of us. There's 2 in the US, me, and then 16 in the Philippines. And they are some of the most incredible designers, video editors, copywriters that I have worked with. So it's actually a really fantastic pleasure to be able to work with people in other countries, and being a remote and global country, we have the ability to do that. I think it's really nice to be such a multicultural team, and make it work. So yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
Great. I have been also into a remote culture from a lot of time, and I also understood how different cultures can bring together a lot of new ideas, new creativity, and lots of new open-mindedness in your company, on your business. So it is always a great idea to talk to the other people and work with them, basically. Great. Any cheat sheet or anything that you want to share with the new people who wants to know more about copywriting, or anything that might be helpful for them to regularly get in touch or get the latest trends of the copywriting? Anything you want to share?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a checklist for elements of a high converting landing page. So that's what I have available, because my business really focuses mainly on landing pages right now. So if there's any aspiring copywriters out there listening to this that have written landing pages, or they're interested in writing landing pages, I can share this checklist that I have used for all of my clients. Essentially, I build templates off of this checklist, and I use them for my 7, 8, 9-figure clients, and they work well. So I will share that. And I also have 4 landing page templates that are available for purchase through my website. But this checklist is absolutely elite. If I could have everyone have it, I want everyone to have it. So I hope it's helpful to some people out there.
It will be definitely helpful, because I see when you put your experience in those templates, like it might take less time to those people to grab those things. Maybe in the coming time they will also create their own template, and it will be much more optimized. So it is always a good idea to share what you have created, and maybe it will revert back to have some different ideas of optimized cheat sheet in the coming time, for sure. I think great talk, Savannah. Anything you want to speak, or anything you want to share that might be helpful, maybe? Otherwise, we will end this session, and maybe we will share the cheat sheet to the people who wants that cheat sheet from you.
Yeah, I mean, the last thing I will just say is that if you want to become a copywriter or a freelance writer of any kinds, just write. Just write something every single day. And if there's a business or an industry that sounds exciting to you that you might want to work in, practice writing in their voice. Consume the information and the creatives that they put out, and just try and learn from that every single day. Build a portfolio based on some things that you have written for them. Don't do free work, but you can practice writing in those different voices and on those different platforms, and really give yourself a little bit of more experience, so that when you are ready to find your own clients, you'll have pieces, and you can pitch the people that you have been following and dreaming of working with for a long time. So my advice is just go out there and do it, because anyone can be a copywriter. Anyone.
That's great. Thank you so much, Savannah. It was a great pleasure to talking to you, and I would love to connect with you again with on the same topic, and maybe much more advanced things that you want to share in the coming time. That's it from today's session, and thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Shiv.
Please keep in touch.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.